Welcome to Mindful Monday. If you are just joining and it's your first time in Mindful Monday, welcome. Today's theme is being attractive. Okay, so EFT tapping will be tapping on being attractive AF. Our activity is going to be about body observation and body acceptance. And then reading, we're still reading The Power of Now. So let's go ahead and get started with tapping. We are tapping to be attractive AF. So if you are new to EFT tapping, you can tap using both of your, tap on both sides at once if you want, or you can do one side and then move to the other side. Whatever works for you, you can just tap on just one side. Okay, but we're gonna start out here on the karate chop point. So tap here, and then I will say the statement, and then you can say it out loud or in your mind with me. Okay? So here we go, tapping on being attractive AF. Even though I'm not feeling very attractive right now. I choose to show love and compassion to myself. And even though I don't know if I'll ever feel attractive, I choose to completely love and accept myself. As well as anyone else connected to this. All this fear that I'm not attractive enough. All this doubt that I could ever be attractive. All this anxiety that no one will ever find me attractive. All this pain from feeling so unattractive. How can anyone love me if I'm not attractive? I'm so tired of feeling unattractive. And I feel like there is so much I have to change to be attractive. Whatever I'm feeling is valid. And I allow myself to process it all now. The truth is, I don't have to change anything to be attractive. I was taught that I need to change to be attractive. Probably by people who didn't feel attractive themselves. But I'm changing all that now. Because I know everything I desire is attracted to me. And the best part is, I don't have to do anything for it to be attracted to me. I am attractive inside and out. In fact, I'm the most attractive person in the universe. And nothing and no one can change my mind about that. So I accept that I am attractive AF. Because that's just the way it is. Every part of me is attractive. My body is attractive. My face is attractive. My personality is attractive. My quirks are attractive. My smile is attractive. My eyes are attractive. My confidence is attractive. My laugh is attractive. Everything about me is attractive. And I now know and feel the truth of this all. Mind, body, and soul. Okay, then take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And if you have water nearby, grab a drink of water. All right, everyone, so we're going to move on to our activity now. So I recommend grabbing something to write with and also finding a mirror. We're going to do some body acceptance and body observation work for the next 10 minutes. Go ahead and find a mirror if you have one. If you can see your entire body in it, that's wonderful. If not, that's okay too. And I'm just going to walk us through some things here. So whether you have a mirror or not, if you have a mirror, what I want you to do is to look into the mirror, and I want you to just observe your thoughts without judgment for 1 minute. Just observe what goes through your mind when you look at yourself in the mirror. If you can see your whole body, that's great. If you don't have a mirror, just when you think about looking at yourself in the mirror, you can still observe those thoughts, okay? So take the next minute and just observe without judgment. If you feel emotional, that's okay. Allow that emotion to go through and flow through. Okay, now I want you to choose 2 body parts that you notice yourself criticize the most. If there's not 2 and you just have 1, you can focus on the one for the duration of what we're going to do the remainder of this. But choose 2 of them, and what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the first one that comes to mind. And I want you to touch that part of your body, whatever it is, the part that you criticize the most. And I want you to observe how touching this body part makes you feel. So just take a few moments to just touch it and notice the sensations in your body, any emotion, anything like that. Just observe without judgment. And now while you're touching that first body part, I want you to say these words. I want you to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And I want you to do that for the next 30 seconds, focusing on this body part. Just repeating, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Okay, and now I want you to move to the second body part. If you only had 1, you can stay here with this body part, but I want you to move to the next body part. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to touch it and observe how you feel when you touch it without judgment. Any sensations in your body, any emotions that come up, any thoughts, just observe for the next few moments. And now we're going to do the same thing we did with the other body part, and we're going to say, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And just repeat those words to that body part while you're touching it for the next 30 seconds. Okay, and then go ahead and come back. And you can do this activity in the morning after you get out of a shower. You can do it when you have clothes on or don't have clothes on. Sometimes it's very powerful to do it without clothes on even. Okay, and we're going to move on to the next part of this activity. So for the next 5 minutes, this is if you have a writing utensil or a journal or something like that, I want you to write a love letter to your body. And you can say anything you want to it. You can also, just some suggestions, you can include an apology for how you've perceived it, treated it, or talked to or even about it in the past, as well as your promise and commitment for how you will treat it better. Remembering that if we've lived in a pattern of treating our bodies poorly or speaking about them poorly or perceiving them poorly for a long time, that this is not going to be done perfectly. And it's all about the commitment and consistency of bringing awareness to when you are treating it in the same ways that you have in the past, and shifting that as often as you can. So I'll be quiet for the next 5 minutes, and I'll go ahead and write that love letter to your body. All right, we're going to move on to our reading. We're still reading The Power of Now. I'll pick up where we left off last time, which is a section called The Ego's Search for Wholeness. Another aspect of the emotional pain that is an intrinsic part of the egoic mind is a deep-seated sense of lack or incompleteness, of not being whole. In some people, this is conscious, in others, unconscious. If it is conscious, it manifests as the unsettling and constant feeling of not being worthy or good enough. If it is unconscious, it will only be felt indirectly as an intense craving, wanting, and needing. In either case, people will often enter into a compulsive pursuit of ego gratification and things to identify with in order to fill this hole they feel within. So they strive after possessions, money, success, power, recognition, or a special relationship, basically so that they can feel better about themselves, feel more complete. But even when they attain all these things, they soon find that the hole is still there, that it is bottomless. Then they are really in trouble because they cannot delude themselves anymore. Well, they can and do, but it gets more difficult. As long as the egoic mind is running your life, you cannot truly be at ease. You cannot be at peace or fulfilled except for brief intervals when you obtained what you wanted, when a craving has just been fulfilled. Since the ego is a derived sense of self, it needs to identify with external things. It needs to be both defended and fed constantly. The most common ego identifications have to do with possessions, the work you do, social status and recognition, knowledge and education, physical appearance, special abilities, relationships, personal and family history, belief systems, and often also political, nationalistic, racial, religious, and other collective identifications. None of these is you. Do you find this frightening? Or is it a relief to know this? All of these things you will have to relinquish sooner or later. Perhaps you find it as yet hard to believe, and I am certainly not asking you to believe that your identity cannot be found in any of those things. You will know the truth of it for yourself. You will know it at the latest when you feel death approaching. Death is a stripping away of all that is not you. The secret of life is to die before you die and find that there is no death. Chapter 3, Moving Deeply into the Now. Don't seek yourself in the mind. I feel that there is still a great deal I need to learn about the workings of my mind before I can get anywhere near full consciousness or spiritual enlightenment. No, you don't. The problems of the mind cannot be solved on the level of the mind. Once you have understood the basic dysfunction, there isn't really much else that you need to learn or understand. Studying the complexities of the mind may make you a good psychologist, but doing so won't take you beyond the mind, just as the study of madness isn't enough to create sanity. You have already understood the basic mechanics of the unconscious state, identification with the mind, which creates a false self, the ego, as a substitute for your true self rooted in being. You become as a branch cut off from the vine, as Jesus puts it. The ego's needs are endless. It feels vulnerable and threatened, and so lives in a state of fear and want. Once you know how the basic dysfunction operates, there is no need to explore all its countless manifestations, no need to make it into a complex personal problem. The ego, of course, loves that. It is always seeking for something to attach itself to in order to uphold and strengthen its illusory sense of self, and it will readily attach itself to your problems. This is why, for so many people, a large part of their sense of self is intimately connected with their problems. Once this has happened, the last thing they want is to become free of them. That would mean loss of self. There can be a great deal of unconscious ego investment in pain and suffering. So once you recognize the root of unconsciousness as identification with the mind, which of course includes the emotions, you step out of it. You become present. When you are present, you can allow the mind to be as it is without getting entangled in it. The mind in itself is not dysfunctional. It is a wonderful tool. Dysfunction sets in when you seek yourself in it and mistake it for who you are. It then becomes the egoic mind and takes over your whole life. End the delusion of time. It seems almost impossible to disidentify from the mind. We are all immersed in it. How do you teach a fish to fly? Here is the key. End the delusion of time. Time and mind are inseparable. Remove time from the mind and it stops, unless you choose to use it. To be identified with your mind is to be trapped in time, the compulsion to live almost exclusively through memory and anticipation. This creates an endless preoccupation with past and future and an unwillingness to honor and acknowledge the present moment and allow it to be. The compulsion arises because the past gives you an identity and the future holds the promise of salvation, a fulfillment in whatever form. Both are illusions. But without a sense of time, how would we function in this world? There would be no goals to strive toward anymore. I wouldn't even know who I am because my past makes me who I am today. I think time is something very precious and we need to learn to use it wisely rather than waste it. Time isn't precious at all because it is an illusion. What you perceive as precious is not time, but the one point that is out of time, the now. That is precious indeed. The more you are focused on time, past and future, the more you miss the now, the most precious thing there is. Why is it the most precious thing? Firstly, because it is the only thing. It's all there is. The eternal present is the space within which your whole life unfolds, the one factor that remains constant. Life is now. There was never a time when your life was not now, nor will there ever be. Secondly, the now is the only point that can take you beyond the limited confines of your mind. It is your only point of access into the timeless and formless realm of being. And we will stop there for today. And I'm going to round out Mindful Monday with a mindful message. So take it as it resonates. Message we need for today. Popped right out. It says opportunities for growth. Everything is happening for me and my evolution. I am not a victim of the things that happen. I take ownership of my life and make the best of the challenges along my journey. I see how difficult moments help me to become the very best version, and I am thankful for them. And that, I read the last line incorrectly, but that's okay. Same message. And that is the mindful message for today. And that's going to formally end Mindful Monday.